Tasha Garrett. I am in speech. Why is same-sex marriage wrong? Should the government have the right to choose who we marry, whether it be man or woman? Is it because it is said in the Bible that only man and woman should be together? Or is it just a bunch of people at the top against it? I want to get everyone to have an open view on things like this and show them what this has been going on, or show them that this has been going on for a long time and that there's really nothing wrong with it. Same-sex marriage and gay relationships have been going on for centuries now. Many types of same-sex marriage have gone on, from informal relationships to ritualized unions. In China, through the Ming Dynasty period, women would bind themselves in contract with other women in ceremonies. Males also entered into similar arrangements. This was also a common thing in ancient Europe history. The first actual recorded mention of same-sex marriage occurred during the early Roman Empire. It was not really at this time, but it was tolerated in ancient Rome. In 342 AD, Christian emperors Constantius and Constans issued a law against same-sex marriage in Rome, called the Theodosian Code, and ordered execution for those in a same-sex marriage. This was extreme, and luckily this cannot be done in the U.S. In 1989, Denmark became the first country to recognize same-sex unions in the form of registered partnership. In 2001, the Netherlands became the first nation to grant same-sex marriage. Now same-sex marriage is also allowed in Belgium, Spain, Canada, South Africa, Norway, and Sweden. So what is wrong? What is so wrong that we cannot have same-sex marriage in all the United States? I will say that I am glad that same-sex marriage is recognized in 6 states in the U.S., those being New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine, Iowa, and Connecticut. In the United States, civil marriage is governed by state law. Each state is allowed to set the conditions for a valid marriage, but has limits by the state's constitution and the U.S. Constitution. When the election was going on against Bush and Kerry, they both had about the same view on same-sex marriage. They did not want marriage rights, but was for state rights on civil unions. Bush supported the amendment to ban same-sex marriage, but was not against states having their own civil union legislation. Bush then called for an amendment which would have outlawed gay marriage, which would have not allowed even civil unions. I guess all I can say about this is that I really do not understand how someone can change their opinion. It makes me think that maybe they should not be allowed to make decisions like that. Why is someone telling us who we can and cannot marry, when they cannot even make up their own minds and cannot stick with the one thing? I think it is wrong to say you want to do something and then change your mind after you get people thinking that you're on their side. Now on to religion. This is where a lot of the problems come in. Some religious groups argue that having the government decide whether same-sex marriage should be legally binding on the grounds of the ideology of other religious groups restricts their religious freedom. Some argue that marriage is a religious term that should not be defined by the government. I believe this too. Why should the government be able to say who we can and cannot marry? Why does the government get to make these rules that really should not matter that much? Same-sex marriage is not going to do anything to the government, the state, or the United States. I really do not see what the big deal is. Why are gays restricted to what they can do? Is it really going to make a difference if we let them get married? A lot of people have the opinion that it is okay for them to be a couple, but do not think that they should be able to get married. The way that I see it is that they are people just like us, and they want to get married just like us, and they want to have families just like us. Should we treat them different than us? We are treating them just like we have treated every other minority in the past. Look how we treated African Americans. We used them as slaves. We treated them differently when it comes to wars, and even though it is over, not a lot of the people are still racist. Many people are still against all races, and granted, we do not hold gays captive and force them to be slaves. But because some do not think that it is right, there are many hate crimes and banning towards gays. Now that I've gotten off subject a little, most religions believe that marriage is a religious ceremony. They believe that if the definition of marriage is changed to allow same-sex marriage, some religious groups and people feel that they will become at risk of having to violate their beliefs by being made to marry same-sex couples. I do not believe that they should be made to marry same-sex couples. Even though I am for same-sex marriage, I do believe that if it is against their belief, they should not have to do it. But there are other people who will. For instance, my father became one who can marry, not for those of the opposite sex, but those who are the same sex. He did it just so he could help out because he is not against same-sex marriage either. He thinks that it should be okay and for them to get married. Arguments over same-sex marriage are often done with religion. One controversy is how same-sex marriage affects freedom of religion. Many churches do not provide employment, public accommodations, adoption services, or services to same-sex couples. I don't get this. Aren't most religious groups supposed to help those in need? They are supposed to forgive, and aren't we all created in God's image? So aren't those who are gay created in God's image too? So how can they say that being gay is wrong? Some say that same-sex marriage would ruin the purpose of marriage, or that it is not God's will. They also agree that same-sex marriage normalizes homosexuality and would encourage individuals to act upon their homosexual feelings, rather than trying to overcome their same-sex attraction. I look at everyone I know, and whether they are straight or gay, I have never seen someone try to overcome an attraction. Really, is that even possible? I mean, look at those who are married. If they had something that you did not agree with, but you loved them, would you try to stay away from them and try not to care for them? Isn't that about the same thing? How are you supposed to not be with the one that you love, whether it is a man or a woman? Christians that support same-sex marriage have claimed that marriage of the same sex strengthens the institution of marriage and provides legal protection for children of gay and lesbian parents. They are a gift from God. This is what I am trying to get people to see. Those who are against same-sex marriage believe that children are better off growing up with a mother and a father, and that the state should encourage traditional marriage. They believe that children growing up in a same-sex marriage are going to grow up having homosexual thoughts and preferences, because that is what they are used to. But how is it that they think that when most of those who are already homosexual grew up in a regular family? Or my friend that I had known since middle school finally admitted that he was gay this year, but it was only to the 3 friends that he has. He would not admit it to his family or anybody else that he is gay. I'm using this story because I want people to realize that families, churches, and even the government are making those who are gay afraid to come out and be who they are. Why should they have to hide it and be afraid of everyone around them? We should be open to new ideas and let people be who they are and not have set boundaries for them when we do not really have boundaries. I feel bad for him and anyone else who has to hide who they are, and those who have had to hide who they are from a family, even if it is something as simple as smoking. You should know how they feel. I believe that same-sex marriage should be allowed. From what I already know and from the information that I've gotten from sources, I do not understand why same-sex marriage is such a big deal. They are just like us, and the views of those against it are understandable, but I do believe that they are wrong. I want people to be open and about more things like this and realize that these are people's lives and we are messing with, and that if I was told that I cannot marry someone that I love, then I would probably be upset with this country. I got my sources from Justice, What's the Right Thing to Do by Michael J. Sandel, and Same-Sex Marriage and the Constitution, Evan Gerstmann.